For a long time, jewelry designers have found inspiration in all kinds of materials. It's not always appreciated, but the history of jewelry is as diverse in its use of shape as it is in its use of materials. As designers, we are attracted to the properties of a material, its color, weight, malleability, and how it can be formed or shaped. In today's laboratories, new materials are invented regularly, and they can be unlike anything we've seen before, which provides new opportunities for innovation in our creative practices. An artist and researcher who came across a very interesting material and made it the topic of contemplative research, creative exploration, and artistic inquiry and collaboration is Professor Ioannis Michaloudis. To tell us more about his career, practice, and the material he investigated for many years, I'm excited to welcome Ioannis. Welcome.
Thank you very much, Sophie. Thank you very much for the lovely introduction, and allow me not to speak like a professor, but like a lover of art. Okay, let's start like that. Allow me to speak in a more informal way, so we will be more in touch with your audience and also with our heart.
Yeah, so my first question, Ioannis, is to ask if you could start by telling us a little bit about yourself and what it is that you do.
Okay, now it starts the mythology, okay? So I was born in a bus, and this is real. This is not a joke. I was really born in a bus. So my mom had not the time to go to the hospital, several kilometers from our village. I was born in the bus, and 1 year after we moved in Athens, and I was raised in Athens. So my first school was interior design. I finished interior design, textile design, more precisely. So I had the first touch with the material, with the textile. Then I got a scholarship from a small medium enterprise organization in Greece to go to Paris to make fashion design. What are you doing with textile? You make fashion. That was a good continuation for a master's. That was in the School of Art Deco in Paris. The Art Deco school is a very famous school that it doesn't belong to the education system, but it belongs to the culture. And there, I found an announcement saying that if you have the Art Deco school diploma, you can go to the licence level, to the, let's say, final year of BA in Arts and Science of Art in Sorbonne University. So I went with my portfolio, a very heavy portfolio with textile design and fashion design. I saw it to a very excellent professor there, a very interesting professor who was making design and cinema. And he says, your folio is excellent. I will not take you on BA. I will take you last level for masters. And if you want, you can continue on doctorate. That's how, from a very humble textile designer, let's say, I went and I started my PhD in Sorbonne University. And the theme of the PhD was androgynous garment, the garment of androgynous. So I was talking about the relationships between visual arts and design. It was like the love between the arts. And this research gave me the opportunity to speak about the elastic arts, that the arts are not fixed. There is no visual arts and design and architecture and music, but they are elastic. One can be stretched to another. That it is a little bit my path, academic and life path. After the PhD, 1998, 24 years now, I went back to Greece for the military services, and I got a Fulbright Award to go to make a cubic cloud at MIT. That it was a crazy idea I had to, fashion design is to cover yourself, to have another, let's say, habitat. And a cloud, there is a poem in the Iliad saying that the gods were covered with clouds. That it was from my childhood. I remember this image. And I say, okay, why not to make a cubic cloud, not just to put it on your shoulders, but to make a cubic cloud. And this idea of the cubic cloud drive me to MIT, that they accepted me for a postdoc research, to make a research of how to shape steam. That was the art and science beginning. And then somebody is approaching me there, Adam Wheaton. He's a robotic engineer and researcher. And he says, I think I have something that you may be interested about it. I have a piece of cloud. I say, okay, I don't believe you. Probably you have a piece of cotton, but anyway, he shows me a piece of silica aerogel, and that's why I am here with you today to speak about this material. It was not a piece of cloud, it was a piece of sky. I was looking for a cubic cloud and I found the sky itself.
And maybe to follow on from that, you are now a visual artist, an academic, a researcher. You've had a career that sort of crosses, if you consider those disciplinary boundaries, you've crossed all of them in a way with your work. What drew you to choose this career path and not do something else?
The key word in all what I'm doing is love. Okay, eros, erotic. In Greek, erotici, question, is the same origin as eros, love. So when you pose questions, you have a love to go to find the answer. So that was my driven force, we can say, for everything I was doing. Of course, I stick it not through the economics, but I went to the path of art and design and the academia. But all that, it was just a question of love, and especially love for beauty. I'm looking for beauty. You know, this is the question mark, where and how I will find beauty. And this cross-disciplinary, in my path is I can say parallel roads, not cross-disciplinary, but parallel roads. Or we can name it that it is you change hats. You have one head, but many hats. You change hats, but you have the same head under the hat. For example, now I am in the Dean of the Faculty of Arts and Humanities at the American University in Cyprus. So there, the hat is to give, let's talk about viruses now, to give the virus of love to the students. You have the virus, you are looking for beauty, and you have to give this to young generation that they will take it and continue not your path, but their own path. Probably you mentor them. And this is also my system of teaching. I'm not teaching, I'm not lecturing. I'm asking the students to bring the lectures, and I mentor them. I say where I find that interesting and how we can continue. It's more a dialogue, let's say, my philosophy, my pedagogical philosophy. But behind this, again, is the love for young generation, that they are the future. I told them every day, you are the future. You will discover the world. Of course, my contribution is I will bring you with the virus of love of beauty. The other virus is curiosity. The third virus will be observation. So I give them many viruses. And you know what I mean? I mean by viruses, because we are talking about that. We need tutors. We need people around us that inspire us. This is the kind of virus that they are taking. When I wear the hat of the artist, let's say, it is, first of all, I was lucky enough to be original in all my behavior. It was originality. I don't like copy paste. And this is also something that I want to pass to the students. Copy paste is humiliating. It's not something that it is original. It doesn't create. So copy paste from the internet, copy paste from materials, it was not my job. Also, and this is something for all your listeners, your audience, and especially from young students, if you are original, if you go for originality, you will attract also funding. You will attract also scholarships. We have the experience to see if something is original or not. So if you are in a jury and you see plenty of proposals, you see which one is original and immediately attracts also funding. So that's how I'm. And the third, let's say, hat of a scientist or researcher or investigator or material scientist. I don't know. I don't want labels. I don't put labels. But this one came because I am very weak in chemistry. When I was in high school, my marks in chemistry was very, very bad. But I don't mind because I was in the art domain, so I made the design path and everything. But after I came across with this material that we will speak about, I was obliged to reinvent myself in chemistry. So I had to learn. I know more. Now it's 20 years. 15th of October of 2002, I met the material. Now we have, 20 years and some days that I met this material at MIT from Adam Wheaton. So there I had to invent myself as a scientist. But again, it is an extension of your human being. It's an extension of your identity. Of course, you risk because this elastic extension can smash you back, okay? So you have to be very careful on elasticity. It can be vulcanized very easily, or it can bounce you back. Anyway, so I started investigating this material because of one, and the reason that it was the most important is that it looks like a piece of sky. When you have it, and I have some here, but you see, now we are in podcast, we cannot see, we can hear. But why not? We can hear probably the noise if I have something here to drop it down, so you can hear the glass noise. So can you hear that?
Yeah, very, very quiet, but yes.
Excellent. So this sound of glass when it is dropping down, it is declaring that the material is glass, but it is 1% glass and 99% nothing.
In your TEDx talk, you expand on your use of the material as nothingness and sort of captured sky. This is what I took away from the talk. And you have created work to communicate as well with this material your concerns about environment and climate. Now, in a world where anthropocentric thinking is prevalent, how do you think artists, designers, and given my audience also jewelers, whose canvas is often the human body, could and perhaps should meaningfully engage with this sort of theme?
Very nice question. And I have a very simple answer, and then I will develop it. The answer is looking to the sky. Looking to the sky. What do I mean by that? The sky is the breath of our planet, is the protection of our planet and the breath of our planet. It has droplets, it has oxygen, it has all the ingredients that we need in order to not be destroyed by the ultraviolet radiation. If we lose the sky, then we will not have a planet. Sometimes, as an artist, I make jokes, but also as an academic, I continue my jokes. I say I have published a paper with the title Heterospermia. I said it's time not to go to make terraforming to other planets, by to make sky forming to other planets. So to create, let's say, take the sky spores, put the astronauts to seed pieces of sky to other planets, then we can go to, we speak about the Earth as many layers, but we forget the last layer, that it is the sky. The sky that has many layers also, until we don't have gravity and everything, and we go to the outer space. But thinking about and looking to the sky and thinking about the sky, I believe it's not only an environmental meaning or message, it is also a crucial, existential method. So the answer to your question is, if you wish to find a solution as artists or and also designers and jewelers, and to find a meaningful doing for your career, is look to the sky. You will find, I found the sky itself, the personification of the sky. Probably somebody else will find something, but coming from the sky, coming from this, let's say, father or mother or parent that protect us. And if we lose, then we are destroyed. And this is, I started with textile, fashion, and the sky is the garment of our planet. It protects us. So it is, I'm continuing the same study, but in a different way of thinking and a different way of observing the same thing, but from another point of view. And speaking about interdisciplinarity and many hats is exactly this. You are observing the same thing from different points of view. Today as a scientist, tomorrow as a jeweler, the other day as a designer or as an academic, but always we are going to something that it is above us, and we are looking to the sky. If you look to the sky, you will find everything from inspiration until happiness, everything.
I'm going to go back to the material because I think our listeners may never have heard about silica aerogel. So I would like to ask you to sort of tell us a little bit about this material. You've told us that how you came in touch with it, but perhaps as well what fascinated you so that it's now been 20 years that you have explored it through various means and in artistic capacities and in collaboration.
We are speaking about the personification of the sky, a piece of sky, as I say. So this material, the name of this material is silica aerogel. So silica is glass, aerogel is air and gel. You make a transformation of the material from a gel to a solid that it is 99% nothing. So this material was discovered back in 1937 between two chemists. It was a bet between two chemists. Can you dry the marmalade in a jar without shrinking it, without destroying the structure, the network of the marmalade? So the gel of the marmalade. And Kistler find a way that we name it supercritical drying, to dry the marmalade inside the jar without shrinking it. So this is the silica aerogel. The silica aerogel was the first aerogel he made back in the 40s. And since then, this material was very forgotten. But in the beginning of the century, 2000, yes, they had in NASA a project of capturing stardust. So they wanted a material that can withstand a lot of heat and a lot of pressure. And the only material on Earth that can withstand 1200 degrees Celsius and 4,000 times its weight is silica aerogel. So it is a very tough material, but it is delicate like sky. It looks like, and I invite the audience to go Google stardust.com or NASA Stardust, and they will find more information. So when I came across to this material at MIT, I say, this is ethereal. It's not existing. It's like a poem. You could make immediately the idea. You could make a sculpture out of it and hover it in between magnetic fields. That was the first idea, because it's so light. So it's like a phantom. It's like a fairy. Anyway, and then I was Googling and I found where I can find to make this material. There were NASA that they had the knowledge to make, and one more laboratory in California, Ocellus Technologies. So I get in contact with the scientist and the owner of Ocellus Technologies, Michael Drogi, and I went there and we started discussing. He had made the spheres, the first spheres, for scientific purposes, for some measurements. So I said, if he can make a sphere, he can make sculpture also. I will make the molds because we are not sculpting, we are molding the sky. So I will make the molds and he will give me the recipes, the know-how, the trade secrets, whatever. And that's how we started. That's how we started. And I have to admire the American way. He told me something. I will put everything because I like the idea. I will not ask for $1 about that. But once you will get funding for making your own apparatus, then you will come to us to buy the technology. So I do that. For 5 years, Michael was doing all the sculptures. We are friends, of course, now, and collaborators. Every time I want to make something, I send him a message and I say, and he replies, no, wait a minute, this is dangerous because we are playing with very high pressures and high temperatures. So you have to be very careful. Anyway, so that's how I met silica aerogel. Silica aerogel is the best insulator worldwide. It was used for the stardust because they collect comet samples from the tail of the comet that could be introduced to this sponge of glass. So they heat the sponge of glass and they cannot go outside of it. And you know, a comet a sample or a comet dust has 3 times the speed of a bullet. So this material can stop a bullet. Imagine, it's like the personification of the sky, very ethereal, but it can stop a bullet. You see the paradox. It is a personification of art also. We say, the artist is very delicate, very sensible. But if you see the artists, how they change the world, if you see Leonardo, if he was an artist, an engineer, what he was. Anyway, this kind of paradox attract me immediately, and I stick with it. And I made so many projects, and I have so many projects to continue. And now it starts let's say the second generation of people interested about that. And we believe that it will be this kind of art science projects and nanoscience projects will continue because research, it is like nanotechnology, that it is molding or shaping from within. So you are creating not from outside inside, but from inside outside. That it is a research for the future. That's why it is not well accepted yet, because they say, it is very delicate, very fragile. No, it is not fragile. It is delicate. It is different. You have to handle it in a certain way until you know how to make it more robust. For example, now they can do elastic aerogels, so you don't break it at all. But they cannot withstand that much temperature. So you lose in some qualities, you win in some others.
With the fragile nature of the material, what comes across in your work in terms of that anthropocentric is forcing us to change our way of handling this material and changing our behavior towards the work that you create.
Wow, I like this approach. Yes, first of all, I changed. Since I have this material, I change the way I'm touching, the way I am thinking about fragility, delicateness, and about also our sky. So you see, this is exactly what I say. It is a personification of the sky. It changes your mind of how we handle, and we are living in a paradox moment. So we have an empty, let's say, broken sky, but in the same time, we have to make our wounds and this wounded sky to save the planet and continue our story to other planets. But this kind of delicateness or fragility, yes, of course, it changed my mind and it will change the mind of everybody. You know what? When you meet the material, I wish we will have images, but when you meet the material, You don't believe in your eyes. You become a child. You want to press it. You want to compress it, to break it. You want to eat it. You want to put it in your mouth. So it is, you want to extend your eyes to other senses in order to capture well what is this. And this is happening to everything that it is new. And the fear of the new also. It comes, all these sensations and also emotions are coming because you see something that it is so different, exotic. Exotic means from outside. You know, as a Greek, I have a love of words and a love of traveling. I used to say that I have the syndrome of Odysseus. It doesn't exist in psychology, this syndrome, but it is because traveling and Odysseus, traveling in a bad way means that you are suffering from that. And we are suffering. Now, as humanity, we are suffering. Our planet, our ship is not in a good mood. So we want to have messages that will change the opinion of the public, the big public, and the opinion also of the specialists about this planet. And every day, you know, I remember when I say I hear papers or I read papers about terraforming, I say, why going to another planet? You destroy it. So you have to stay back and restore it. And of course, in 2 or 3 generations, I don't believe that we will destroy the world. And the world is much bigger than us. But it's just an ego, how we say that, an ego projection that we are powerful to destroy the world. This beauty of the sky will protect us. Don't worry.
May I go on to ask you about, your work with this new material, which also resulted in a collaboration with high jewelry designer Claire Choisen at Maison Boucheron. How did this collaboration start and evolve, and what was the experience like?
Thank you for this question. It was always, I believe in teamwork. The artist, of course, he has the time to reflect, to produce, or to create with loneliness. But when you go to design, it is a teamwork. You cannot go to loneliness. You cannot be alone there. So this came again from the bottled sky. So I have an online shop, skyforsale.com. And this is also resold by a United States e-shop again by Aerogel.com. So Claire found, because they wanted to make a collection to the sky, to the atmosphere, to offer to the sky, to the sublime of the sky, they found these bottled skies that I have on this e-shop, and they ordered one. So I got an email saying that Maison Boucheron ordered a bottled sky. Imagine, I know Maison Boucheron from my Paris studies there, and I say, okay, I will contact them. I will, because because I am original, I have also, I dare a lot. I dare a lot. I don't, I'm not shy. I believe in what I'm doing, and I don't stop in names or formalities. This is something that I have it since I finished my textile design. And I say always to my students, you need to communicate with others. If you don't know how to communicate your idea, you stop your idea in 50% or 40%. The communication is much more important than the idea. So anyway, I communicate with Claire, and she said, if you are passing from Paris, pass to see us. And so I went there with my suitcase with samples. They were amazed, and we started with an MOU, memorandum. We signed a memorandum of 5 years, and we started collaboration, investigation in the beginning, because they wanted to make something, but they don't knew yet what is possible, what is not. Because we have some limitation based on the material. Every material has limitations. For example, the limitation of this material is that it is delicate. You have, if you want to wear it, you have to encapsulate it with something transparent. So little by little, we found that this transparent material has to be quartz. So the silica aerogel had been encapsulated with quartz, diamond, and white gold. A very amazing experience. It was an experience inside the coronavirus pandemic. We had, it was an excellent experience because very, very risky also because post offices were closed. And I posted my gems, I will say my gems, to Boucheron 3 days before the post is closed. And the post was closed in Paris 3 days before. So the gems were closed in the post office of Paris for 3 months. Crazy. And they had the defile, what we named the defile, the catwalk, July, and the post office was opened in June. From March to June, it was sticking inside the post office. Anyway, and then we had 2 years of collaboration. 2018, we started this kind of bottled sky boat from Claire Choisen, and we started this collaboration. I traveled there, and they gave me a very good amount. They paid me very well, I can say, for the research and development of the project. And it went out July of 2020. It was a pendant out of 6,000 and something diamonds and white gold and 1 drop, sky drop of aerogel. I like very much also Claire had adopted my idea of the sky, and she named this sky drop. So she named after that. And it is goutte de ciel en français, in French, goutte de ciel, not taste of ciel, of the sky, but goutte de ciel. Goutte is drop, sky drop. So, and also a bracelet that it was again with white gold diamonds and a core of aerogel, silica aerogel, and quartz, protected from with quartz. Yet it is not going to big public. It is for high jewelry, and they are working with orders. So whenever we have an order, we make whatever it is needed, and we go forward. This is how it works. And I can say that I wish, because jewelry and fashion, they have a pretendant profile sometimes. They have what we name a fake face. This was not happening with Boucheron, and especially with Claire. And I was very happy to collaborate. They are very business-like. They know how to do that, and they know what are the difficulties of research and development, and sometimes the difficulties of an artist who is working in design without being paid constantly. So all that, it was very well matched. And that I was very happy, and I say to Claire and to all the team Boucheron that I will be happy to collaborate with them in any project they want. I don't mind if it is with, silica aerosol or sky, but when you see people that they work like a team, you want to continue. So it is a material that is conceptual material. It is not hard like diamond, but because it was nearby the diamond and the white gold and the quartz, it was like a poem, a very nice composition. I was very glad to see. Even me, I had not seen yet the final object. Imagine.
There is always that relationship between diamond being very hard, but at the same time you need to take care of a diamond too, because if you touch it the wrong way, it can just shatter. So
Exactly. Every material has its own techniques and its own modalities. When I started, I had no bibliography yet. Now the new generation starts a lot with new people starting working on aerosols because we need thermoinsulation. And thermoinsulation means because we have extreme heat, the change of the climate. So this will drive us to build homes, again, design of textiles and garment design, homes that they will be much more safe than today. So we need insulation and silica aerogel and all aerosols that they are made. Now NASA is creating a yellow aerosol, not transparent, but like, let's say, like a foam, but solid that can withstand in extreme environments. So it will be applied to this kind of villages that we will build in Mars and Moon. So this kind of insulation, again, I tell you, it is the continuation of textile. A textile is an insulation. Insulation in our days is also being solo, being alone. So it speaks. This material speaks its time. It's it's very contemporary.
You create work under your own name as an artist, and as you mentioned, collaborated with a large brand like Boucheron and the team, of course, that works for Boucheron, which means, in a way, authorship was shared. Now, in academia, authorship seems to be very important to segment a career, and the same can apply to art. In the jewelry field, you can see designers operating under their own name or as part of a team of a larger brand. What are your thoughts, having sort of done both, on the importance of or irrelevance of authorship?
I will give you the answer I had for the same question to the Indian professor where I went to Maharashtra, Shivaji University, to learn about this supercritical drying, how we do supercritical drying. And I was very in the beginning, 2004, so 3 years of knowing the material. I was asking, what about authorship? How we protect ourselves, how we see ourselves. And he said something very amazing. I still remember him. Once the knowledge is out, it belongs to everybody. He said something very, very beautiful. Of course, we have to be very careful. Once it is, you have something, an idea, it is not yet proof concept. You have to have a proof of concept before sharing, because probably it is not working at all. So in authorship and in academia, and also I'm working in Democritus. I am a research associate in Democritus, National Research Association. It's a research foundation in let's say the NASA of Greece. Okay, so we are doing a lot of experiments. I am in the Institute of Nanoscience and Nanomaterials as an artist working there. So what I wanted to say is that when you have this kind of authorship coming in, it has to come after the proof of concept, not before. Before, you have to share with people, with teamwork, of course, people that you trust, that it doesn't go to steal your idea or something. But the authorship, that's why we publish papers. Until now, I can say I'm working with some trade secrets. What I mean by that is that because I don't know yet how to make, and I don't care sometimes because I don't have time for patents. So I don't have time to run after something that it is continuous. Research is continuous. It's not something that I discover a piece of rope and I will sell the rope for the rest of my life and I will win my bread and my caviar. I want to win my bread and my caviar with my research. So I continue my research. There is no time. That's why I limit myself to trade secrets. And with Boucheron, we had this deal. I keep my trade secrets because you don't pay me for shareholder and this kind of things. But if you go to the market, then we will have another deal. This is how it works. And every time I have a research project, I keep my trade secrets until we see that it is something worth to sell.
For our our jewelry audience, what is it that is interesting to you as a researcher, as an artist in the medium of jewelry?
So I will tell you that it is not interesting, but it is intriguing for me, the jewelry, because it is part of all my life. Look at this, not jewelry as jewelry itself, but as word. The word jewelry in Greek is kosmima. Kosmima, it comes from cosmos. Cosmos is our cosmos, we know, okay, cosmos. So cosmos, in everything I am doing, there is the word cosmos inside, not literally. For example, art, decoration. Decoration in Greek is the akosmitiki. You have to transcosmos something. What I'm doing, the job I'm doing now in Greek is kosmitoras. You have to be the jewel of the university. So dean, but the dean in Greek is kosmitoras. So cosmos is always part of my life. So now, what I like and what I don't like in this approach of the real jewelry. So because there are dislikes in jewelry, and probably that's why it comes many times, so I can like it more. It is the show-off that I don't like. The show-off. If it is something like I don't like show-off cars or show-off houses. If you know what you are doing when you buy and when you make, let's say, a buy of you involve money investment. When you invest on jewelry, this is different. But when you make show-off on jewelry, when you create fake images to young adult kids that they see expensive jewelry and they imitate you, they want to imitate you, and they make fake dreams to, and they want to catch fake dreams. There I am against jewelry, and I think jewelry had started to feel that, and they start to be more ethical. So the ethics in design is very important. How and when you wear a very expensive jewel. This is very important also. Of course, if you go to Cannes to take the Palme d'Or, of course you will wear the finest of the fine. But don't tell me that every day I have to wear diamonds and white gold in everyday life. And this is also a marketing issue that old-fashioned markets, they go to the expensive. Now markets of today, markets on the markets of tomorrow, they will sell dreams. And part of the dream can be the jewel. For example, wearing a piece of sky. This is a dream. This is a dream. That does not have a price, has value. And once you have value in something, then you don't count if it is diamond or aerogel or brittle. You wear a message. It's like, and this is what I like to the jeweler, because it attracts the eye. When you see a diamond, you feel well. You see rainbows. You see things that are not every day. It is exceptional. Exactly the word. It is exceptional. We are bored with everyday life, and we have exceptions. This exception can be a jewel. But if you know, and nowadays, the public is much more informed. They want objects that they have a meaning, they have a message. They don't want just something that it is flashy. If not, I will wear the flash of my camera here. It is flashy also.
Your work and research is located on what we have discussed as sort of science and art, and you have been exploring the boundaries between disciplines, but you have also spoken about these labels as themselves being perhaps old-fashioned or outdated. What do you think are the benefits and the disadvantages of perhaps disciplinary thinking and labeling of things?
This is a difficult to answer. You need open-minded people. If people, they are old-fashioned, but I don't approach them as old-fashioned, but if they have to be traditional, if they don't accept the different, the xenos, the stranger, the strange thing, the new thing, if they are not open-minded, then you will have always difficulties to overcome this kind of boundaries. You know, the boundaries, especially in art science, had been created in order to put the people in a rank of industrialization. So you are doing only bottles, I am doing only laptops. But this is over. This is over because we have internet. Internet, you can learn how to make bottles even 3 years after you are born. So you don't need to go. We have Professor Google. I say to my students, when they have difficult questions, go to Professor Google to answer to have the answer. Anyway, so the difficulty is the mentality. This is the most difficult. But if you have people like me or like my students or like you, that they are touching different disciplines and they feel comfortable and they feel communicative also with others to this, then they can pass the message. For example, last week I was in Germany for making a presentation on the 6th seminar of aerogels. All scientists, bored science, I can say, the types and recipes and everything. They put me as a jewel, as they put me at the end to close the whole seminar of 3 days. And I had an exhibition, and always it was a stairway to heaven nearby to every lecturer. So artists, they communicate much better than scientists, but science is looking for truth. And we artists, we are looking for beauty, but probably is one and the same. We are looking the same thing from different perspectives. So if you want to have easy breaking silos, it will not be that easy. But it is good also because it is opening a dialogue. Everything that it is difficult, it opens a dialogue and it creates, of course, in order to penetrate the scientific community, if we say that, you need to be equal to them. My PhD helped me a lot to be equal to them and to be invited to so many conferences and exhibitions. The other thing, I am in between, you know, this is like the parenthesis. I am in between science and art. And sometimes I'm not accepted from scientists, neither from artists. But sometimes I am, because you are in limbo. Every artist has to be in limbo. Every artist has to be not secure. If you secure yourself, you destroy your art. And the research and art, they have the same. They are very to their own, to their lab, and they are looking after answers, and they're very exhibitionist. Very, they show the posters, they go outside, they show inventions, patents. So we are very like, but we see from different points of view. I was very lucky to have people nearby that they were enthusiasts. And the word enthusiast is something that will help a lot to continue to have enthusiasm. If you have enthusiasm, you continue and you go further. If you don't have enthusiasm and you don't believe, how you will go to discover new things? How you will be a jewel to offer beauty? So you have to have beauty in yourself, to be enthusiastic, to communicate it, and probably your communication will be a jewel or a paper or a book. That's how we go. And to those that they believe in silos and old labels, what I have to say is, okay, keep them. It's okay to have labels, but you can use also the other side of the label when the sticker is gone. Okay, so take it as a fact that you are the past with the labels. The future has no labels, even no education. You need curiosity only. If you are curious enough, you will find your path. Your education will come after your curiosity. If you are not curious, even if I inject you the education virus, you will not get it.
For anyone listening who thinks, oh, I'm really interested in sort of new materials, in exploring perhaps with these ideas and the boundaries of these disciplines, what do you think are the barriers to sort of look out for, and would you have any advice to overcome them?
As I told you, the difficulties is to believe and trust people from other specialization. Because you say, oh, this is my community, I belong to this scientific community. When somebody is saying my jargon, he's speaking to my language, I can understand. When somebody is speaking about aesthetics, beauty, I cannot understand. But we all have that not cultivated in ourselves. Scientists, they like beauty. They observe, they are observers. So they like beauty, but they had not developed well or until now this feeling of beauty. So that's why in our school in American University of Cyprus, we introduce aesthetics and history of art even in business management students. We want them to feel, to understand beauty in order to have this kind of culture, not only education. Education, I insist, is old-fashioned. Put culture instead of education, you will have much more educated people. And this is a proof of the old, let's say, 3 generations or 4 generations before, we had grandma and grandpa that they were cultivated, not educated, and very well and happy people. So we have to go back and learn from this. What is culture? What is education? And I told you about these 2 schools in France that they belong to the Ministry of Culture, the Beaux-Arts and the Art Deco. We have to belong more in culture than in Ministry of Education, that is formalities. The other thing that I believe that we have to go to overcome these barriers is another word that I gave you before, is enthusiasm and faith. If you don't believe what you are doing, you don't continue. You have to have faith. Of course, not egoism, not to be egoist and continue fake faith on yourself, a faith and enthusiasm that starts from within and is communicating with others. And this comes back to you. Open ears, observation, open eyes, and immediately when you have something that comes, an idea that comes to you, try to apply it. Ideas are like the birds. If they don't sit on your shoulder, they will sit in the shoulder of somebody else. Apply it immediately.
What is in store for you in the near future? Is there anything you are working on that we could be looking forward to seeing, reading, that you are willing and able to share with us?
There are 3 projects that I will share with you. This end of the year, 2 of my artworks, they are rocketed to the moon. It will be inside a capsule with 300 artworks, and 2 of them, they are mine. One of them is Noli Me Tangere, Touch Me Not, regarding about delicateness and fragileness, and the other one is Bottled Nymph. So this will be part of a project. Carnegie Mellon is sending this MoonArk. It's like an arc with 300 artworks, poems, architecture on the moon, and it will stay there forever. There is no oxidation there, so they will stay forever. We will be dust of the dust, and the artwork will be there. So this is MoonArk. If you want, you can Google MoonArk project. The other one I can share to you is that a scientific, and I have to support, as we say it in French, the scientific editor, that it is Springer Nature. They had proposed me several years ago to make a monograph with all my work, photos of my work, to make a book. So this book, I can now communicate, the title will be Art to Raised to the Power of Science. It will be art with parentheses, raised to the science, small. The science is like a like to the third, to the cube, to the fourth. So art to the science, art raised to the power of science. And inside you will have the 20 years of aerosculptures, as I name them, my work, and all the projects that I took from 2001 at MIT until now. And the last one, very small outcome that we will have very soon next month is a paper, but very big outcome if it goes to the museum. We prepared with a team of colleagues from the university and also international colleagues from Japan and elsewhere. We prepare a paper, art and science paper, that we name it Mother Tongue with M in between parentheses, so Other Tongue. And we are talking about silica aerogel as a possible material for restoration of ancient sculptures. Imagine you have the broken arms of a kouros or of a statue, and you replace it with a piece of sky. So in this paper, we are taking the caryatid from British Museum. We replace the arms with silica aerogel ones, not plaster ones, and we exhibit them in the Acropolis Museum.
Oh, that's really poetic as well to work in this way.
It has many meanings, And it is not only meanings, it is beautiful to see the real marble, the Greek marble, the Pentelic marble through the sky, because the sky was surrounding this statue anyway. So we took the sky and we put it to the missing parts.
And in a way, it's also something about time, isn't it? Because the sky, when you look through the sky and to the stars, you look in the past. The fact that you add aerogel to a sculpture that lost, in a way, you look back to what it originally was, but through the sky, through the past. It's really beautiful.
That's great. That's great. Thank you.
Are the boundaries between science and, in this case, maybe material science and art relevant and useful and necessary? Maybe, maybe not. But what is clear is that scientists and artists share many crossover interests. A material, originally designed for another specific purpose, became the subject of Ioannis Michaloudis' research and artistic work. His contributions have been valuable to the subject, which is in ongoing development both through science and art, if there should be such a distinction. As artists, we have the opportunity to look beyond what we know and be inspired by the new, materials or other, as they emerge in many disciplines. Who knows, you might come across a material that fits with your aesthetic, design ideology, or just inspires you to explore it beyond the bounds it is currently used for as well. So for sharing how this can be done and for providing us with insights into your research, practice and work, I would like to thank you a lot, Ioannis, for being here with me. We are incredibly grateful for your time and very much look forward to seeing what you will be creating in the future. Thank you so much.
Thank you. Thank you very much, Sofie, for your questions and for the very happy dialogue we had.
Next month, I will be joined by another guest, so watch this space to find out who it is. But for now, this was Sofie Boons for the BAJ podcast episode titled Molding Sky with Ioannis Michaloudis. Thank you for listening and have a wonderful day.